Hello, my name is Charles Sloan, and today we will be going over the Sacred Grove. The Sacred Grove is a project that is supposed to be a non-religious spiritual space with a monument, a sacred space, and a sacred space. They are supposed to relate back to the research that we've been doing this entire semester on sacred spaces and social justice figures. Through my site analysis, I was able to figure out that the site that we're using has more weaknesses and threats than opportunities and strengths. The main weaknesses that I took from the site were the elevation, the access to the site, and how empty the surrounding area is. The main strengths I was able to take away were the forestation and wooded area, and the location of the site. These were my site analysis diagrams. This is the Church of Light by Tadao Ando. From the Church of Light, I was able, from the Church of Light, I took the light, the light materials and structures, the design principles, and the water symbols and concepts shown on the left of the PowerPoint through my parties. I took from that and I put that in my model. This is the Church of Water, also by Tadao Ando. And from the Church of Water, I took the building location orientation, the water symbols and concepts, and the space, which are also represented on the left through my parties. This is the National Monument of Freedom, built in Alabama to recognize the African American slaves in the U.S. And from the National Monument of Freedom, I took the design principles and I took the building location and orientation represented on the left through my parties. And for my last precedent, I have the Netherlands American Cemetery Visitor Center. This is dedicated to World War II veterans and soldiers, and this is built by the Khan architecture firm. From this precedent, I took my lights, materials, and structure, and the building location and orientation. These are my first two iterations. In my iterations, I thought that I knew that it would be important to have a space for people to come clean themselves, whether if it was just through a shower or just to rinse off their feet or just to clean their hands. I know that it is important across cultures to clean yourselves before you enter spaces, whether it's a religious space or a non-religious space like a home or a school. I know that it is seen as important. So I knew that it would be important to represent that. Along with that, to the left of that, I like to have my main sacred space. And then the building closest to the road, I wanted it to be a light space. And the building the furthest from the road in that back right corner was supposed to be a fire pit place where people are supposed to gather and tell stories. And in my third iteration, I tried to take from that and build upon that and build upon that. And my fourth iteration was my final model that I decided to go with. And that is supposed to represent Black spirituality and nature. This is my 3D final model of my fourth iteration. And then this is my floor plan. Number one is supposed to represent my model. Number two is supposed to represent my main sacred space, my public sacred space, I'm sorry. Number three is supposed to represent my restrooms, and number four is supposed to represent my private sacred space. The concept that is seen throughout this model is the concept seen throughout the way that the sidewalks are set up is supposed to be free flow. It's supposed to be very free flowing. As across spirituality, I know that it is important for people to be able to people to be able to just not across spirituality. I'm sorry. I know spirituality is not a linear event, so I knew that it would be important to have several different interests into the space. But along with that, I knew that it was important to also have several different interests into my main private main my main sacred space. I knew that that was important because spirituality is not a linear bringing back to what I previously said, spirituality is not a linear event. So that there is no one right way to reach spiritual enlightenment. So I knew that it was important. So that's why I knew that because there is not one way to reach spiritual enlightenment, having more than one pathway and having more than one interest to everything shows how it shows how people are able to reach spiritual enlightenment in several different ways and through several different outcomes. Because for some people, it may be a straightforward path, and for others, it may take them 15, 20 years to just finally reach spiritual enlightenment. Along with that, the water is right there. So to represent, because water is important across spiritual journeys, and along with water, water represents a load of things in spirituality from death, rebirth, and just being reborn. I knew that it was important to have a walk. It was important to have people walk around the water and for you to be able in the public sacred space to look straight out into the water. This is my roof plan. This is my exploded axle, and these are my section cuts. And these are my elevations. And here are my renderings. This is This rendering was taken inside of the public sacred space, as you were able to look right out. As mentioned earlier, you were able to look right along the water. Along with being able to look right along the water, you are also able to see the monument and be able to look right in front of you and see the nature. And I knew that that was important because it allows you to look across your journey and see where it's a metaphor for being able to look across your journey and to watch as you reach spiritual enlightenment. And this is from my monument. The fire right here is supposed to represent the fire right here is representing not spiritual awakening. I'm sorry. So on so the fire right here is supposed to represent Black spirituality. As across Black spirituality, people would meet around a fire for a multitude of reasons. Those reasonings being from those reasonings being from not being able to meet out in public or certain spaces, for Bible study during slavery, for weddings, main for spiritual events. Like it was very important. So I knew that it was important for my monument to have the fire in the middle and have the chairs all around it as to represent when people across the Black spirituality and history would sit around the fire. Along with that, on the outside, the building, the monument is supposed to represent, not supposed to, these are trees, which is seen right here on the top through the green and along the sides as they are holding each other up and as they are all connected. And it represents being able sitting under the trees, as that was also important across Black spirituality, as not only will it allow people to not only does it allow bring people shade, but it also allows people to hide out, or it also allows people to hide out, which is also seen across Black spirituality. And this is my rendering of my main sacred space from the outside. Thank you.